Ah, you beautiful bastards. It's me, Daniel Sloss. It's Wednesday and you're watching The Philip DeFranco Show. Let's just jump right into it.
Another Wednesday, another potential PDS host that I have to fire. Daniel Sloss is great, I just couldn't afford his day rate. But, unfortunate firing aside, if you'd like to check out my brand new podcast with Daniel Sloss, I actually uploaded it right before this video. If you want the video version, go to youtube.com/aconvowith, or if you want the audio version, right, the Spotify's, the Apple Podcasts, or wherever, you can go to linkshole.com. And honestly, if there was a first time to check out the podcast, if you have not done it yet, it's with this episode. I was really looking forward to it, and it was a fantastic time. So yeah, check that out. But this is the Philip DeFranco Show. Welcome, buckle up, hit that like button, and let's just jump into it. The first thing we're going to talk about today, I just got to give a shout out to the #1 super fan of the PDS, Susan Wojcicki. And Susan Wojcicki, if you don't know, she's the CEO of YouTube. And yesterday, she actually did something that was notable to me. If you watched yesterday's show, you might have seen me complain, but also bring to light that YouTube has just been cracking down on any video that involves coronavirus, demonetizing it, essentially in their efforts to stop crazy conspiracy theorist videos, de-incentivizing those that want to get factual information out there so you have an informed public. I also joked on Twitter about it, and Susan actually replied to me saying, "We hear you. Update to come on this tomorrow. Stay tuned." And tomorrow came, and I did get an update. The video was manually reviewed by a human and demonetized. Oh shit! I'm too exhausted to be angry. It's just funny at this point. Though, to be fair, she didn't say she was gonna fix it for me. She just said that she heard me. Also, as far as the actual update to this, Susan Wojcicki did release a blog on the YouTube Creators blog. And regarding monetization there, she said, YouTube's policies are designed to support your work on the platform, to protect users, and to give advertisers confidence about where their ads run. We know many of you have had questions about our sensitive events policy, which currently does not allow monetization if a video includes more than a passing mention of the coronavirus. Our sensitive events policy was designed to apply to short-term events of significant magnitude like a natural disaster. It's becoming clear this issue is now an ongoing and important part of everyday conversation, and we want to make sure news organizations and creators can continue producing quality videos in a sustainable way. And then adding, in the days ahead, we will enable ads for content discussing the coronavirus on a limited number of channels, including creators who accurately self-certify and a range of news partners. So here's what I'll do. The out that I'll give Susan and YouTube is maybe this will change moving forward. This is recent. I thought for a second maybe that video was still demonetized because I had said, fuck you, YouTube? Yeah, that. But looking deeper into the demonetization, it was still that sensitive issues tag that got me demonetized. Hey, maybe it'll change, but I don't know. Yeah, maybe you've noticed it in the past week. I think I've just run out of the energy from stopping the voice in my head from saying all the things I feel. Also, as far as what else YouTube is doing, earlier in the post Susan wrote, we're using our homepage to direct users to the World Health Organization, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and other local authoritative organizations around the world to ensure users can easily find updates. Also adding, we're donating advertising inventory to governments and NGOs in impacted regions who are using it to spotlight timely, helpful information. But yeah, that was a thing. And then in other internet news, we should talk about the further mainstreamification of TikTok and its stars. If you're unfamiliar with TikTok, just talk to someone that's younger than you. I use the app as a consumer. I don't currently post on it, but I mean, you just look at it and you see, oh, this is the big thing now. Possibly in part to the videos being 15 to 60 seconds long, it feels like its discovery engine is just on a completely different level. With the right videos, the right strategy, I mean, you have people going from nothing to 60,000, 100,000 followers like that. While there have been a lot of behind the scenes things regarding creators and content, which, I mean, that's a whole different deep dive. One of the main faces leading the charge for the mainstreamification of TikTok, so even your grandma knows that it's a thing, is Charli D'Amelio. She's a 15-year-old girl who is not only one of the biggest influencers on the app, she is one of the biggest influencers of 2020. She started blowing up in summer of last year, and she currently has 35.1 million followers on TikTok. And also moving that audience off platform, Instagram 9.4 million, YouTube 1.7. And what I will say, I think I said a similar thing about Ninja regarding esports and streaming. If there is one of the main faces to be had, I think it's actually good that it's her. Right? Because I think fame for young people can be incredibly toxic. You look at her previous interviews, and she also did one last night on Jimmy Fallon, and you go, oh, this is actually a good representative. Not only talking about her rise, but using her platform and the platforms given to her to talk about bullying. They're talking about her campaign to raise awareness about cyberbullying, teaming up with UNICEF to talk about this in general, but also her personal experiences and struggles with it. And I will say, personally, I love seeing it. One, because it is promoting a positive, but also two, because I've seen a lot of the hate that was thrown at her. It was ridiculous, intense, at times seemingly overwhelming, her top comment section. And ultimately, I'm happy about this moment because sometimes the kids show me that maybe the future can be better. Yeah, a little entertainment / positive news for a change. But from that, I want to share some stuff I love today, and today in Awesome, brought to you by It Is Really a Sign of the Times, real paper. I'm not sure if you know this, I was genuinely shocked by this number. Every day, over 27,000 trees are cut down to produce toilet paper. And so the fantastic people at Real Paper wanted to combat this issue, and they found a much more sustainable solution using bamboo. And what's awesome is there's absolutely no sacrifice in quality. It's still strong, soft, it is triple ply, so you won't even miss your old brand. Making it even more fantastic, they ship directly to your home for free. Which, one, free is good, but also two, the fact that you don't have to go to the store. Have you seen these insane videos of crazy Karens fighting over toilet paper? Right, and the unfortunate thing is really there's never been a better time to try something new. And not only do you get good with Real Paper, but you also help do good. For every roll that's purchased, Real Paper donates a single-use biodegradable toilet to someone that's in need. And to get you started, Real Paper is offering $10 off your first subscription box when you use code DeFranco. So be sure to click that link down below, or just head on over to realpaper.com/DeFranco, use code DeFranco. You'll be doing something good for the environment, someone else, and yourself. And the first bit of awesome is I've had a lot of people asking me, when are you gonna release the First Amendment shirts? And the answer to that is actually today. This is a limited run pre-order, so you only have until Sunday to snag one. You can either get it in this color or in red. And of course, if you want to snag one while you can get it at shopdefranco.com. Then we had Katie Holmes talking Dawson's Creek, Batman, and the Cashmere Bra. We got a blooper reel for I Am Not Okay With This. Architectural Digest got an inside look at Dakota Johnson's home. We had Gus Johnson taking on Steve Harvey being terrible with women. We had Billy Lord exploring ASMR. You had Jimmy Kimmel asking people on the street their knowledge about coronavirus. And if you want to see the full versions of everything I just shared, the secret link of the day, really anything at all, links as always are in the description down below. And then let's talk about the update around Harvey Weinstein, who the last time we talked about him, he'd been found guilty on 2 counts in Manhattan, those being third-degree rape and first-degree criminal sexual act. He was facing between 5 and 29 years in prison. You had Weinstein's lawyers asking for just the 5 years, citing his bad health, his age, and it appears today the judge said, I hear you, I definitely do, but he's getting 23 years. Right, so if his alleged health issues are legitimate, this is essentially a life sentence. And that's even without factoring in that Weinstein's still facing 4 felony charges in Los Angeles for rape and sexual battery. Right, if he ends up getting convicted there, that could add 28 years to his sentence. And my general reaction to this is good, but it also highlights an issue. Yes, Harvey Weinstein is being held accountable, but how many years later? A thing to consider, right? That Manhattan judgment, that's based off of just 2 women who accused him out of at least 90. And so when I read that Weinstein spoke at length at the hearing about his charitable deeds, how he was totally confused about what these women were saying, it kind of falls on deaf ears considering the horrific nature of some of the testimony and just the pile of accusations. And so when Judge James Burke says, although this is a first conviction, it is not a first offense. I nod and understand the 23-year sentence. Right, so there's that. Also, an interesting thing that has come out, there are recently unsealed court documents that show that weeks after the first accusations were published by the New Yorker and the New York Times, you had Weinstein desperately reaching out to wealthy friends for their support. This reportedly including Jeff Bezos, Tim Cook, Mike Bloomberg. In a letter to the heads of Apple, he wrote, I don't need you to make any public statements, just a private one to my Gmail address saying that you support me getting therapy and the help I need before the board fires me. I'm in a tough spot. Many of the allegations are false, but I need your help with this private letter of support. Also, even more interestingly, other documents showed that Weinstein had compiled a red flag list of industry figures who he suspected might be talking about his sexual behavior to the media. And that list was sent to his private investigators, reportedly including about 70 names like Ben Affleck, Rose McGowan, and several others. Right, so that has led to people saying, well, why was Affleck's name on this list? What did he know? But ultimately, that's where we are with this Weinstein story today, and of course, it passed the question off to you. What are your thoughts on this? And then we should talk about Super Tuesday part deux. So yesterday, 6 more states held their primaries, and it was a big win for Biden. As of right now, Biden has picked up Idaho, Michigan, Mississippi, Missouri, Bernie took in North Dakota, and Washington right now is still too close to call. Now, what I will say is going into this, it appeared that Biden would win, but what was even more significant here was how much he won by. And here, we'll start with Michigan, because Michigan was largely viewed as the most important state in yesterday's races. This was for a few reasons. First, it had the most delegates to give with 125, and secondly, it was considered an absolute essential state for Bernie Sanders to win. Bernie won Michigan back in 2016. It was largely considered the win that launched him in the race against Hillary Clinton. But what we ended up seeing was Biden winning in Michigan by more than double digits, winning 52.9% to Bernie's 36.4%. Also, as far as states that Bernie won in 2016, but he lost yesterday, you had Idaho, though the margin there was not as big. Also, regarding Washington, as of recording this video, with 67% of the vote in, Bernie is ahead 32.7 to 32.5%. Though, I do want to point this out, notably Warren, who dropped out last week, is polling at 12.3% in Washington. And we previously talked about in a number of states, this was going to be an issue. Washington has a long early voting period, mail-in ballots, right? So there's a big question mark of how much did it hurt Bernie. But also there, the fact that this race is even close is incredibly significant because it was a race where in 2016 he absolutely destroyed Clinton. In 2016, he pulled in 70% of the vote. And then you had Mississippi and Missouri. Once again, Biden was predicted to win those states, but the margins there were enormous. In Mississippi, Biden won more than 80% of the vote. And Sanders in that state ended up getting under 15%, meaning he picked up 0 delegates from Mississippi. And in Missouri, Biden won almost twice as many as Sanders, which once again, I know we keep comparing it to 2016, notable because Sanders barely lost to Clinton by just 0.2%. And I will say, it's been wild to just see how much this race has changed in 2 weeks. Right? It went from such a diverse, overcrowded field, and it felt like it was going on for years and years, and then out of nowhere, boom, Biden went from a guy that I was saying to others, man, I almost feel bad for him. I mean, for years, the guy was probably told, you should have really run in 2016, you were the one. And early on, it seemed like he wasn't getting the traction, he had a dying campaign. Meanwhile, he's like, yeah, just wait for South Carolina. To everyone was like, ha ha ha, yeah, South Carolina. And all of a sudden, he's the dominant frontrunner, winning a total of 14 out of the last 20 states. Right, and more than winning, the number of delegates matter, Biden leading there as well. And according to experts, that delegate gap is expected to grow more and more. Right, next Tuesday, we have 4 more major primaries: Arizona, Florida, Illinois, Ohio, 577 delegates up for grabs. I know we keep looking back to 2016, but Sanders lost all 4 of those states in 2016 and by some big margins. The rest of the upcoming primaries in the big delegate-rich states also do not look great. And one of the things that stood out to me, I know that we talked about, who's voting for who. Black Democrats and older Democrats seemingly going with Biden, Latino Democrats and younger Democrats going more towards Sanders. And regarding that youth vote, it seems like there might have been an issue. Bernie has long been banking on the fact that he is wildly popular with young voters. You look online, you see the energy. And he has argued that he can win if they turn out, but based on the numbers we're seeing, it doesn't appear that that's been happening. Looking at the numbers, young voter turnout has remained very low in a lot of major races. And in fact, yesterday, turnout for voters aged 18 to 44 was lower than it was in 2016 in Mississippi, Missouri, and Michigan. And it wasn't like there was just lower voter turnout in general. In fact, in all 3 of those states, voter turnout overall, right, for all ages was higher than in 2016. Especially significant in Michigan, where an estimated 1.7 million people voted in the Democratic primary yesterday compared to just 1.2 million in 2016. Now, with all that said, we look forward to what happens next, and there have been kind of 2 notable updates after results started coming in. One, we saw Andrew Yang endorse Biden. Right now, not fully sure how that's been received, but if you're using the metric of the number of likes on his post talking about Biden and Bernie, why he made his choice, you think in general people agree with his notion that this is about party unity now? But then you look to the top and most liked replies to those, and people calling him a traitor, weak, saying he's not a warrior for the people. Another writing, you did a great job of hitting one of your heroes while he was down, this in reference to Bernie Sanders. And 2, there was the question of, well, what is next for Bernie? Right now it appears almost statistically impossible for him to get a majority or even a plurality of delegates going into the convention. We're seeing some people say it's time for him to drop out. But despite not speaking last night, he came out this morning and said he is not dropping out of the race, and he looks forward to debating Biden this weekend. Right, and so with that, there's a question of, well, what are we gonna see at that debate? What kind of Hail Mary, haymaker throwing Bernie might we see? Right, to which I know some people are worried, how much damage could he do in this debate to Biden regarding infighting, damaging Biden's image? And while there's part of me that understands for Democrats why you would hope that there's not any more divisiveness, the truth of the matter is, if he's not able to handle Sanders, he's not gonna be able to handle Trump. But yeah, that's where we are with the race. I'd love to know your thoughts in general, also specifically regarding the youth vote and the lack of it. And the last thing we're going to talk about today are coronavirus updates, because 1, demonetization issues be damned, and 2, this is a situation that is developing very fast now. And, we've been talking about this for weeks now. It starts out small, all of a sudden things start jumping and jumping. So to start off right at the top, the World Health Organization has officially announced today that it has classified the novel coronavirus outbreak as a pandemic, adding, "We are deeply concerned about the alarming levels of spread and severity and by the alarming levels of inaction." Worldwide, we're seeing there are now over 118,000 cases, just under 4,300 dead. In the United States, the number of cases cracked over 1,000 today. Though in the United States, there are concerns and questions around why so few in the United States have been tested. A number of people thinking in the United States, the number of official cases may be artificially low. For example, today you had New York Governor Andrew Cuomo saying,
when they do the retrospective on this one, they're going to say, why did it take the United States so long to bring up the testing capacity? We knew this was happening in November and December. We watched China. China did something like 200,000 tests per day. South Korea did about 15,000 tests per day. The United States has only done about 5,000 tests to date.
Also, since we've been talking about this, we've talked about the potential of this changing everyday life for pretty much everyone. Right, so there's a big conversation that's happening and to be had there regarding the delays that we've seen. But as far as the more pertinent to everyday people now, like what changes are we seeing? The cancellations and postponing of events has continued. Regarding bigger events and conventions, we saw E3 was canceled. Coachella has reportedly been postponed until October. We've seen numerous St. Patrick's Days canceled, including the one in Chicago. San Francisco has just outright banned large gatherings of 1,000 people or more. Reportedly, this order will be in place for at least the next 2 weeks. So connected to that, we saw a Giants baseball game canceled, as well as the announcement that the Golden State Warriors will play a game, but without any fans. So the people that bought tickets will be getting reimbursed. Regarding what companies are doing, we saw Google make a massive announcement, issuing a recommendation that all its employees in North America work from home until at least April 10th. And actually, as of today, they have issued the same recommendation to employees in Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. Right, Google's announcement much more widespread, but joining the likes of Apple, Facebook, Microsoft, and Twitter. Hell, even for the show, over the past week and a half, we've been working on a remote solution if we end up having to self-quarantine. That way, if we all get stuck at home, we can all still get filled in, which I know definitely was the biggest concern you had about the coronavirus. You're like, what if we don't have the PDS? Screw grandma. Am I gonna get throat punched Monday through Thursday? Then regarding the impact on schools, we've talked about school closings in the United States. There are a number of colleges that are saying, hey, for the time being, we're gonna switch to online courses. Some schools are asking students to leave their dorms, which is also creating an odd situation, right? There's situations where you have low income students, people that don't have a home to go to that has Wi-Fi. There are international students just here on visas, people that rely on the school for housing and food. A number of people just confused what the hell the next steps are gonna look like, right? And that's a developing situation, so we have to see what the hell is actually going to happen. Also important to remember is that it's not just a United States issue. According to the United Nations, 1 in 5 students worldwide is staying away from school due to COVID-19 crisis, and an additional 1 in 4 is being kept out of higher education establishments. But yeah, those are some of the updates. Obviously, we're gonna keep our eye on this. It's gonna be a constant story. I mean, that's the thing, is this is likely not a story that just continues to the end of the week or the end of the month. This is very possibly a situation that goes on for months in one way or another. At this point, we just don't know to what degree, and a lot of that depends on the action we see in the coming days. But that is the story. That's today's show. Of course, I'd love to know your thoughts on this or anything else I talked about today. And hey, if you've been a part of the team, the family, appreciate you as always. If you're new here, you want to make sure you don't miss these daily weekday videos, hit that subscribe button, definitely ring that bell to turn on notifications. Also, if you're looking for more to watch after this video, you should definitely check out that new podcast I did with Daniel Sloss, or maybe just missed yesterday's show, you want to catch up, you can click or tap right there to watch either of those. But with that said, of course, as always, my name's Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love yo faces, and I'll see you tomorrow.
I hope you liked the video. Subscribe if you like it.